pre-filed bills. Pre-filed bills. So I know people are at home are like, what's a pre-filed bill? So every legislative session starts in January in Kentucky. But before you get to the legislative session, until last year, lawmakers had the opportunity to pre-file bills, meaning they could give you a little sneak peek about what they were planning on filing in January. Well, they got rid of that rule last year, and one of our lawmakers is not happy about it. Representative Savannah Maddox had a tweet yesterday talking all about it. Let's see if we can get that tweet up on the screen. So she says, I'm old enough to remember when the General Assembly did away with pre-filed bills on the premise that legislation often changes throughout the process. Members were told that there's no sense in getting citizens riled up over bills that may change or not pass at all, and that the unearned media had become problematic. So let's pause right there. So come back. So what she's talking about is the fact that a lot of time, well, first of all, gosh, maybe 100 bills pass, but like maybe 1,000 are filed every time. And so she's saying that even though they might not pass, we still want to signal to our constituents what it's going to look like, what we're thinking about, okay? Sure. But then she goes on, because she's not just saying that, there's more. She says, the bill to eliminate pre-filed legislation was passed on the heels of my efforts to build statewide support for two bills, one to stop unconstitutional lockdowns and one to ban vaccine mandates. I always pre-file bills because I believe that citizens, the media, and my colleagues deserve ample time to vet legislation. And then she went on to say that if we're not going to do pre-filing, then we shouldn't be talking about stuff before anyway. And there was a big press conference yesterday by Republicans in the General Assembly to talk about their new safety plan. So she fired that tweet off, and I was like, ooh, coming for the leadership. But then it also got me thinking, hey, should we have pre-filed bills? Should we bring that back? And so I thought we should talk about it today, because you know me, not one to shy away from a little political talk. So guys, what do you think? Pre-filed bills, should we bring them back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, here's the deal. They are public servants, right? They are elected officials that we put into office. I would like to see, or at least have some heads up about certain things that are being worked on, certain laws, certain things that they are working on that may then come up in January. So I don't know why that would be such a hard thing to do. Not everybody reads those. It's not like we're all going to the internet going, oh boy, look at this, they're talking about blah, blah, blah. Most of us aren't going to do that. But why suppress it? That's my question.
Exactly. That's the question. I mean, I'm imagining some of these bills are pretty extreme one way or another, and that's why they're thinking we don't need to see all of it. But I think we do. I want to get to know my politicians a little bit, what their ideas are. I need to know that, and we pay their salaries.
Yeah, true. So talking about suppression, I think sometimes they try to tuck things in to bills that have nothing to do with things like sewers, and try to get that slid through. So I would love to know what's in the bill before it goes.
And so, Lisa, we talked about this in the newsroom before. You said even if a bill has no chance of passing this session, that doesn't mean in 2 or 3 or 4 sessions that it won't pass.
That's right.
Because Jason Nemes, who's been working on the medicinal cannabis legislation, filed it year after year after year until it started to get some traction. And back then, people thought that was extreme. So, yes, I am for pre-filing bills, bringing that back. I get that the party wants to control the narrative. They don't want extreme factions putting out information or bills that are going to make a headline and get people talking. But if you got elected and you're thinking something crazy, we deserve to know.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe it's not so crazy. You know what a crazy thought that is, too. I mean, it's for us to decide and to talk about as a community.